What is not amazing sometimes are some of the circumstances that some of us face when we are born into this world. I can admit that. I've had my own issues. We all have our own crosses to bear. And those situations can sometimes make us ask or question, why are we here in the first place? Why does it feel like you can never catch a break? Why do you dread waking up in the morning or even seeing nightfall for whatever reason? And if you're going through that, I really do empathize with you. Again, most of us have been in that situation, and it's not fun. It's not fun to wake up and think about, how am I going to pay this bill? What am I going to eat today? How am I going to get to work? How am I going to put gas in the car? So when I say, you're special and it's a gift to be here, you might roll your eyes, but stick with me. I got a little bit of a plan that will hopefully help with feeling like it's not a blessing to be here, but it is. So just stick with me. You might ask, if life is such a gift, why does it feel like a curse? Again, I've asked myself that question too. And to be honest with you, I don't have the answers to those questions. I wish I did, but I don't. I have lots of questions myself, and those are things that have to wait. But to be honest, I want to give you a unique perspective on life. And there's actually a board game called The Game of Life. And I never really played that game. It just didn't appeal. It seemed a little too grown as a kid for my age. It just seemed like marriage and kids. And yeah, I wasn't in that headspace, but Monopoly was my game. Anyway, back to the subject. Much later in life, I stumbled across a concept called the hero's journey. And you may have heard of this, and you may not have heard of this. And if you haven't, let me explain a little bit. And if you have, stick with me. Again, we're going to go over this together. I was at a point in my life, several times, where absolutely nothing made sense. Where am I going? What's going on? What's the purpose? What's the purpose of this? And you're really asking questions to try to find out why. What's the point of being here? I never got to the point where I wanted to do something drastic, but I know some people have. So hopefully here's a couple of tools to help you with that. If you're not familiar with The Hero's Journey, it is a book based off of Joseph Campbell's book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces. The hero's journey has actually been used in popular culture. A lot of screenplays, a lot of movies, a lot of stories are based off the hero's journey, and it's easy to understand. Star Wars. George Lucas got the inspiration to finish Star Wars based off of the hero's journey. So, what exactly is it? There are 12 stages to the hero's journey. The first is the call to adventure. The second is the refusal of the call. The third is meeting the mentor. The fourth is crossing the threshold. The fifth is tests, allies, enemies. Number 6, the approach to the inmost cave. 7 is the ordeal. 8 is the reward. 9 is the road back. 10 is the resurrection, 11 is the return, and 12 is the freedom to live. Basically, the completion of it. Now, these stages don't have to be in sequential order, but you think of them as an overview. They don't have to be these stages don't have to be in sequential order. Just think of them as the overview. Mainly the call to adventure, that's going to be your start. What's the problem? Something happens. For instance, maybe your car broke down. What are you going to do? Are you going to just be like, okay, I'm not going to get this fixed? Or actually, here's a good example. This bill is due. How am I going to pay this? Am I going to ignore it? I'm going to let them cut off my electricity. What are you going to do? That's just a small version of the hero's journey. So you can refuse to pay your bill and they cut your lights off. Don't want that. But if you do, say, okay, I'm going to face this head on. This bill is way overdue, maybe a couple of months. I don't know how I'm going to pay it, but I'm going to face it. I'm going to call up the electric company. I'm going to find out, maybe there's something that can help. Then you meet someone, or you happen to get the right customer service rep, and they ask you or they tell you about a program. Cool, this program will help you pay your bill. That is so awesome. So you're crossing the threshold. You made it, you got it there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Then comes your tests, or your allies or your enemies. And your tests could be, but you gotta send us, your last 9 pay stubs so that we can help you see if you qualify for this program. Well, manager's out, or maybe there's a storm or something. I can't access that. What do I do? At the same time, you might meet an ally, someone who says, okay, maybe we can get around this. The approach to the inmost cave is you're sitting there and you're thinking, this is impossible. Gosh, I knew it wasn't going to be that easy. I knew I wasn't going to be able to pay this bill that quickly. And that's your ordeal. But then you stuck with it and you said, you know what? I'm going to stay positive, and I know that I can get through this. And that is your reward. Your reward is you found an ally that says, you know what? Send me your last 2. Do you have at least your last 2? Look on your phone. You can access. Yeah, I got my last 2. Or, you scraped up something through your car. You found a pay stub. Whatever it is. A bank statement, maybe. Something like that. And then you're like, okay, cool. I'm not going to get my electricity cut back on. Roll back. And then the resurrection is you realize you faced something that you thought, I'm never going to be able to pay this bill. I'm never going to be able to get through this. How am I going to get through this? And then you get this feeling of accomplishment, like, oh my gosh, I faced my fear and I actually succeeded. I feel so good. Feels so good. And then you get the return. Your electricity stays on, maybe your AC is on and everything. And you're looking, you have a sense of accomplishment. And the end is your freedom to live. Now you have not only have you gone through that ordeal, you have faced a challenge that you thought you couldn't get through. It seemed so insurmountable before that happened. And now you have a sense of empowerment, like, you know what? I can get through this. I can get through the next thing. Bring it on. That's what the hero's journey is. And it can be small things or big things. Again, how I explained it, maybe it's not the most accurate. I'm not going to say that. How I explained it, those steps don't have to go in sequential order. And it might not even be that long. But it's just an example of what the hero's journey is. So when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed by a situation, maybe referencing this concept and thinking of it as a game, something that you've been challenged with. You are the hero or the heroine in this situation. Or maybe you have a partner as well and you guys are like, hey, we're the heroes, we're the heroines, we can get through this. Even small things, like I said, paying a bill, getting your car repaired, getting into school, something as simple. It's a journey. It's all a journey and it's a game. And if you start to think of it like that, it doesn't feel so, or shouldn't, hopefully, feel so overwhelming and like you cannot get through it. So one last word from Joseph Campbell, if you don't believe me. He says, what I think is that a good life is one hero journey after another. You are called to new horizons. Each time there is the same problem. Do I dare? And then if you do dare, the dangers are there and the help also. And the fulfillment or the fiasco. There's always a possibility of a fiasco, but there's also the possibility of bliss. So another way to think about this is, why do we love superhero movies or action films so much? Where there's a hero or heroine. Again, it's the hero's journey. They're living their life, everything's fine, and then all of a sudden, there's a problem, there's a situation, and they have to get through it, or maybe they receive some powers. How do I deal with this? We want to believe in a hero or heroine who is fighting the good fight and is out to save the day and make it better for the rest of us. And it's always for unselfish reasons. The wonderful thing about the popularity of these stories is that we can be the hero or the heroine of our own stories. Something as small as a kind gesture, a smile, we can decide whether we want to be good and kind and unselfless. Or you also have the option to be an a-hole. I don't know how else to say that. I mean, you can do that. You make the choice. But the thing about that is, even if you are an a-hole in that moment and you didn't want to be, or you like, oh man, I didn't mean to do that, you can try again. That's what life is about. It's a journey. It's about, how can I get better? It's the want to get better. You know, if someone has been kind to you and gracious to you, you know what that feels like. And you can also spread that to the next person. That's what makes human beings special. That's what makes all of us special. And we have a choice. And as Campbell wrote, we are all presented with multiple journeys. It never stops. So if you're thinking, oh, I just need to accomplish this and then I'm done with that. You have to keep going and going and going. But each time you get stronger and stronger and stronger, just like your superhero, your favorite superhero. They keep working. They've been given a gift and they have to keep working at it. It just doesn't come automatically. That is the hero's journey. Open yourself up to new adventures. Don't refuse the call of the hero's journey, even the small one. There's a lesson to be learned. You can learn from everyone. Just open yourself up to it. Open yourself up to life. Life is so worth living. I don't know who needs to hear that. And that sounds corny too. But when I've heard other people say it, it's usually come at a time when I did need to hear something, their message as well. So hopefully this message is reaching out to you and it's letting you know your life is worth something. Your life is worth more than just something. Your life is precious. Your life is special. I hope this helps. And I hope that it at least gets you to explore what the hero's journey is. To find a little relief from the despair of whatever problems you're going through. Because there will always be problems. Believe me, there will always be problems. But there's also people that want to help. There are good people out there. There are people that want to see you succeed. You just have to be willing to believe and put yourself out there. Believe me, I know. Until next time, please be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.